He's a detective down in Texas.
Come on,
You know, I wrote
what the facts.
I actually wrote a song for Stephen Moore.
Really?
Yeah, in the commercial break. Can I sing it?
Wait, but I thought you were going to sing this song.
Take the
with
money and run.
Go.
Take the money and run. But I wrote a song for Stephen Moore.
All right, fine.
Can I do it?
Fine.
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Justin will pot down the music.
Yeah, all right.
Spoiler
Here it
alert.
is.
You know, you could have told us this during the
I
break.
was just doing it during the break.
Okay, what is your song for
and I haven't
Mr.
rehearsed
Moore?
it. Okay.
Okay.
Stephen Moore got his big tax cut. Stephen Moore kicked some Congress butt. It's good for the rich. It's good for the poor. Stephen Moore. Beat it. Yeah. I just like that.
All right, well, let's see what Stephen Moore thinks.
All
But yeah. But first, wait. The victory lap in Washington yesterday? Oh, it was thick.
Something this profound could not have been done without exquisite presidential leadership.
This has been a year of extraordinary accomplishment for the Trump administration.
And we're going to make this the greatest presidency that we've seen, not only in generations, but maybe ever.
President Donald Trump delivered a great victory for the American people.
We're all friends. I mean, I look at these people, it's like we're warriors together.
And does he still have...
It's been repeated over and over that middle-class people are not going to get a tax cut. Average person is going to see about $2,500 off their tax bill. And by the way, Amy, that starts February 1, 2018.
Hi, Stephen Moore. I didn't even ask you a question. You're already selling me the bill.
I'm excited. I'm bursting with
I was just going to ask you if you had the afterglow on from yesterday's bill signing.
Oh, my God. It's just unbelievable. I mean, what a feeling. And, you know, I've worked on this for 2 years. As you guys know, I started working with Donald Trump almost exactly 2 years ago when we started talking about this tax plan. And I got to tell you, you had told me 2 years ago we were going to get a 21% corporate tax rate down from 35% today. So we go from the worst in the world to one of the best. And if you had told me we were going to get small business taxes cut for almost 30 million American small businesses, and if you had told me we were going to get rid of the individual mandate tax penalty under Obamacare, and if you had told me that we were going to allow for the first time in 40 years drilling in Alaska for our oil and gas. I mean, those are things we've been trying to do for decades. This is a sweeping victory for conservatives, and you have to look back probably to the 80s to remember we've had a victory like that.
I understand that, but how are we going to pay for this? I mean, where were the conservative deficit hawks?
You're being a killjoy.
Well, I know, but isn't that what the Republican Party's about? You know, trying to be conservative and trying to watch the deficit so we don't pass it on to our grandchildren and great-grandchildren?
Yes, you want to know the answer to your question?
Yes, please.
We're going to grow the economy. We're going to put people to work. We're going to get people off of welfare into work. We're going to see already the economy is growing at 3.5% under Trump. That's up from 1.5% last year. We're going to get to 4%. Now, Amy, every 1 percentage point increase in economic growth causes the deficit to go down by $3 trillion over a decade. So this tax cut is going to lower the deficit the best way possible by putting America to work and growing our economy. And there's no question. It's already happening. Have you looked at the stock market, for goodness sakes? I mean, the stock market is just going up and up and up and up. Investors and businesses and workers love this plan.
Stephen, I actually heard you on Larry Elder, and Larry Elder said that you sounded tired. And now it sounds like, but now you've gotten like your second and third wind, which is beautiful.
That was the worst radio interview I probably did in my life last night. It was about 7 o'clock at night, and I got home. I had spent all morning just worrying about getting this thing through the house, and stress is tiresome. And then, of course, we had the great party over at the White House. It was incredibly festive, and that was a lot of fun. It was really cool. And by the way, we're outside. It must be global warming. We're in the middle of December, and we were outside on the White House lawn, and it was just a beautiful. And I got home, and I just sprawled out on the couch. By the way, I don't even know. You know what? For the first time in 2 years, I don't even know what I'm going to do next week.
That's
I don't have anything to do.
That's wonderful.
Tax cut done. I guess I'll retire.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a big deal. I mean, you were the architect of this plan. I know you worked with others, but this is very important to you. But
Larry Kudlow and Art Laffer, I'm going to shout those two out, because truly this tax bill would not have happened without my buddy Larry Kudlow, who was the best man at my wedding, but he was super influential in getting to 50 votes in the Senate. And then Art Laffer, I mean, this bill is an ode to the Laffer curve, that when you tax something, you get less of it, and when you tax something less, you get more of it. And I can't tell you how many members of Congress told me that, it was Art Laffer's vision. And look, Art Laffer wasn't necessarily the architect of this tax plan, but he was the architect of the Reagan tax plan. And this plan was based on Reaganomics. And I got to tell you, Amy, I go on CNN and they keep saying, "Oh, we can't do this. It didn't work for Reagan." It didn't work for Reagan. I mean, God, we had quarters 6, 7, 8% growth. We had, we had months where we created 1 million jobs a month. It must have worked pretty well because I seem to recall he won a squeak by his reelection by winning 49 states.
And I remember as a kid being scared because we were in gas lines when Jimmy Carter was president,
Sure,
and there was no bread on the shelves. I mean, those were scary.
The malaise.
No, those were scary times.
6:30 in the morning with my parents, and we'd get in our those old sedans, and we'd drive to the gas station in Glencoe, and we'd sit in line for 40 minutes.
The interest rate.
What's wrong with this country?
Stephen was in Glencoe.
The mortgage interest rate was 18.5% on our house.
Well,
I mean,
we
it was a
couldn't
joke.
even
That's why
buy
you
one.
buy. Well, you got to buy the house in cash.
Well, Stephen, we'd go over to Stephen's house in Glencoe, and we'd siphon gas out of his tank. That's how bad it was in those days. But they're coming for Stephen. Yeah.
What'd you do wrong?
All right. So Stephen, 4%.
Hold on, wait for the ambulance to pass.
All right.
You can't hear me. Pretty powerful.
Wow. Okay.
Can you hear us now?
Sorry about that.
No problem. So,
Safety first.
eventually, I hate to be the second killjoy in this interview, but you're going to have entitlements that you're going to have to deal with, and the debt is going to go up. And at some point, those two are going to collide, and you're going to hear an ambulance coming for the economy. We got to do something about entitlements at some point. You can't do it before the 2018 midterms, so when are we going to do anything?
Well, look, I think that the job number one, let's concentrate for a minute on this victory, because it really is stupendous. I mean, it is awesome, and people are going to see a big reduction in their tax. I think you're going to see at the beginning of 2018, right from the get-go, business is starting to really spend. I think they're going to start to invest in a big way. You saw what happened. You guys see what happened with AT&T yesterday?
Yes.
That's an amazing story. We haven't
tell people about that. Because Comcast had the same deal.
Yeah, they got $1,000 each for 100,000 employees or 200,000.
So everybody's saying, "Oh, this is just for the rich people," folks. I mean, this is going to reverberate throughout the economy. And by the way, we really are putting supply side economics to the test here. I said last night, if this doesn't work, I will be the first one to admit it. But I'm sky high on this. I think it's going to be a rebirth of the American economy. We're going to make America great again. Now, look, on the entitlements, of course we have to do something about that. We have 10,000 baby boomers retiring every day. That's people moving out of the workforce into all of these government programs. We're going to have to gradually raise the retirement age. I'd love to see, one of my dreams, by the way, let's allow people to put their Social Security money into the stock market so that they can enjoy the massive increase. Do you know we've increased $6 trillion of wealth and just since Donald Trump took office? $6 trillion in higher valuations of stocks, and this is just starting. So, yeah, we got to get the entitlements done. One of the things we have to do is require people. I'm all for giving people assistance if they lose their job or if they're down on their luck, if they become disabled. Obviously, we want to help those people, but we've got to get people out of welfare into work.
All right, Stephen, one really quick question, because we got to go.
We don't have to go because I have to ask a question.
Okay, well, I got to ask a quick question. All right, I want to try to pin you down because I got this lawyer thing in me. 4% growth for 4 quarters. You willing to go that far?
You gonna hold me to that?
Yeah.
All right, here it is, folks. Drum roll, please.
Yes.
4% growth in 2018 to 4%.
That's what the average is going to be for
the whole. By the way, we have not had 4% growth. You know the last time we had 4% growth?
1876. 1999.
1999. Okay.
Yeah.
4%. It's been almost 20 years since we've had 4% growth.
Right.
We haven't had 5% growth since the 80s.
Everybody seems to be celebrating except for people who live in Illinois, particularly Cook County.
Well, it's going to be tough for Illinois because you lose your state and local tax deductions, and you pay
why would you do that to us?
Property taxes.
Well, a lot of people pay. I mean, on my street, I think they pay anywhere from $25,000 a year to. I know one couple pays $42,000 a year, but they have 2 lots and a humongous house. I'm fine, thank goodness, but they're mad now. They hate the Republican Party even more.
Well, and you know what? This is going to force Illinois for the first time in 50 years to get serious about cutting their taxes, giving people value for their money and the services they get from government. I mean, we've talked about this so many times. You have some of the most expensive schools in the country in Chicago, and they're the worst performing. I mean, what explains that?
Well, and also too, I don't know if you heard this, but Illinois is no longer the nation's 5th largest state. We've dropped to 6 because 33,000 plus people, 33,703 people moved out between July 1st of last year and July 1st of this year.
Well, we talked about this, remember, last week. You know things are bad in Illinois when people are leaving Illinois for Kentucky.
All right. Well, thank you, Stephen Moore. Congratulations.
Merry Christmas. The old savings and loan. Building.
Thank you, Stephen Moore. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news,